What's going on, everybody? So it's been an interesting 2 weeks for the Nintendo Switch 2. Apparently third-party games aren't doing so well, but we already talked about that in a previous video. And there were rumors that there was going to be a Nintendo Direct this month, but it seems like there isn't going to be a Nintendo Direct concerning third parties. And this makes me think that there was originally supposed to be one, but Nintendo saw the bad sales from the Nintendo Switch 2 third-party games and then reconsidered and instead put some more Donkey Kong Bonanza in our faces. Now, I like Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm not going to get it day one because I'm not a huge Donkey Kong fan and wouldn't consider buying it for $70, but I was considering buying more third-party games for the Switch 2. But it seems like third-party games are already in trouble, and this made me think of the Nintendo Switch 2 differently. So I actually went back to my PC handhelds, like the Legion Go, and I'm starting to value my Legion Go with SteamOS a lot more. First of all, it's fully customizable, meaning you could put any type of theme onto any game. You can even mess with the game themes with plugins, and of course you get the original game. If you're buying a third-party game through Steam on your Legion Go, the entire game is on there, meaning you can actually play the game in 4K regardless of how much it cost or when it was released. And this is important because you can buy a game like Batman Arkham Knight for the Nintendo Switch 2 and the game's performance will be improved, but the textures and resolution won't be in dock mode or handheld mode. But if you buy a game on Steam and have a more powerful handheld that has SteamOS similar to the Legion Go, then you will get the extra horsepower in order to play it in 4K on your TV and in handheld mode at 1600p 30 to 60 FPS. Now that's crazy because we probably need to spend like $10 or $20 on an upgrade pack for Arkham Knight in the future if Nintendo even considers that at this point. Because of the third-party sales, we're probably going to see the third-party upgrades come a lot slower to the Nintendo Switch 2, but we'll most likely see a steady pace when it comes to first-party titles. Now, I reference a game like Batman Arkham Knight mainly because that's one of the games that had the most trouble on the Nintendo Switch 1, and Nintendo Switch 2 only saw a slight resolution increase along with FPS improvements. But you still get all the old textures that you had on the Switch 1, so that backwards compatibility is a double-edged sword because your games still kind of look like junk, but they play a lot better on the Switch 2, which is nice if you already bought 150 plus games like I did. But if you also bought around 400 games like I did on my Steam account, then having all of those Steam games readily available on any SteamOS compatible handheld like the Legion Go, ROG Ally, and possibly even more PC handhelds in the future, then you'll have the same exact library with all different types of handhelds with different hardware, potentially more powerful, but just as optimized as the last. And that's not to mention all of the cloud saves that can be transferred between these devices. Right now I'm using my Legion Go as my permanent docked mode SteamOS device, and I'm using my Steam Deck as my permanent SteamOS handheld, while I'm using my Nintendo Switch 2 as almost my permanent docked Nintendo Switch and my Nintendo Switch Lite as my portable Nintendo Switch. So I kind of have two handhelds working with the same operating system and the same library. The only difference is my Legion Go can play any game at any resolution with the same graphics. The only difference between my Steam Deck and my Legion Go is my Legion Go can output a higher resolution in handheld mode and it's more powerful. But they have the exact same games with pretty much the same performance. So yes, the Nintendo Switch 2 did make me appreciate my PC handhelds a lot more. It made me value them so much more. I was actually ready to sell my Legion Go because I wanted more games on the Switch 2, and I tried to buy a 1TB Express SD card, but unfortunately I can't find those suckers anywhere. And on eBay, scalpers are actually selling the Express micro SD cards for up to $1,000. Scalpers already have all of the 1TB, so I can't find them anywhere. I've called all of my local GameStops within a 100-mile radius, and none of them have that 1TB Express micro SD card. So this is a problem because the accessories for the Nintendo Switch 2 are very scarce right now. And some are saying they're even more scarce than the console itself. And that's pretty much true. And my Legion Go has 1TB of internal memory inside of it, while I have a 2TB SD card compatible with both my Steam Deck and my Legion Go with hot swapping, meaning I don't need to restart my system in order to get my library in that SD card to load up again, or through a different SD card. And that 2TB normal SD card cost $200. That's double the amount of of capacity with 240 megabits per second at a fraction of the current scalper price. But the normal 1TB Express SD card costs $180 if you can somehow find those. So yeah, it is unfortunate that the Switch 2 is going through this third-party trouble, because this might slow down what Nintendo was planning for third-party games. I would love to have Resident Evil 4 Remake on my Nintendo Switch 2 because it is slightly more convenient than using SteamOS, but there is a lot more customization while using SteamOS. So it's a give and take. But as of late, SteamOS has been getting a lot more convenient to use because of all of the updates that are coming out for it. And Valve continues to monitor SteamOS very closely, and they take feedback very seriously. So they fix all of those little troubles that anybody would have with it. And the operating system, in my opinion, is almost perfect. Of course, there are games that have been delisted and that aren't properly compatible with SteamOS, like Jump Force. Meanwhile, I'm playing Jump Force on my Nintendo Switch 2 with no problems, better resolution, and FPS, readily available to me because I bought it on eBay. You can't just buy a Steam game on eBay. Wait, actually, you can buy it technically on a third-party website like G2A, which I have done before, but there are a lot of workarounds to get games that have been delisted to work on operating systems like Steam. So it is kind of a give and take, but most modern titles work on SteamOS right now. Like Resident Evil 2 Remake works perfect on SteamOS, and any device that's compatible with SteamOS, like Legion Go, Steam Deck, and ROG Ally, and possibly even the Xbox ROG Ally handheld. So yeah, it's quite a competitive world when it comes to handhelds, and right now I'm using all of them. I love using the Nintendo Switch 2 because of how seamless the experience is, from using it docked to handheld mode. I know that Legion Go has a lot of issues while docked, but for the most part, I don't really have many issues using it. Switching between docked and handheld on systems like the Legion Go and SteamOS have given me some trouble in the past, and you can't exactly have a seamless experience on the Legion Go and Steam Deck like you can have, or anywhere near the seamlessness that the Nintendo Switch 2 gives you. So yes, there are caveats to using the Nintendo Switch 2, like waiting for overpriced third-party games to become available. I bought Street Fighter 6 for $60 because I bought it with the DLC, but I bought Cyberpunk on Nintendo Switch 2 because it was in the cartridge for $70. That game came out 5 years ago. But maybe if Nintendo released third-party games for cheaper and more frequently, I would think differently about these third-party games on the Switch 2. But for now, it's going to be a couple years till the Switch 2 replaces my Legion Go and Steam Deck. Those systems are absolutely amazing with SteamOS, and I highly recommend them. You can enjoy both your Switch 2 and these other PC handhelds. But it would be awesome if everybody could get all of these handhelds and enjoy them equally like I do. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are biased towards the Nintendo Switch 2 over all of these other handhelds, regardless of all of the things that these other handhelds have that the Switch 2 should have had 8 years ago. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about the Switch 2 in its current state with third-party games, and the fact that you need to repurchase these games, even though some other people have up to 2,000 games in their previous libraries. Honestly, in my personal experience, I'm kind of sick of rebuying these third-party games. Even though I will buy Resident Evil 2 Remake when it comes out for the Nintendo Switch 2, I'm not going to be very happy buying it for the 5th time. But again, I want to support companies like Nintendo that continue to give us different ways to play these third-party games. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and thank you so much for watching. Later.